Hello, welcome to tutorial 190 part 2. A Marketplace customer asked me how he would go about drawing some dots when the price went above the upper line, below the lower line. And this is maybe a little more complex than it sounds, because tutorial 190 is a centered moving average. In other words, what we do, we calculate the moving average just like you would normally, but then we shift it back a number of bars. So we're trying to deal with the concept of comparing price with a shifted moving average. Now, it's actually not too difficult to do that for the historic bars, but you might also recall from tutorial 190 is that because we don't have enough data to go right to the end of the chart because we're shifting the moving average backwards, what we did was create some lines to estimate what the moving average would be if there were enough data, and that was just by using the value of the last bar. So this creates a little problem because we want to do the same. We want to draw dots if those bars are above, or rather the high of those bars are above the line, or the low of those bars is below the line. But of course this is going to be changing all the time as this last estimated part of the moving average changes. So we need to find a way of doing that. And what we've also got is an alert when there is a break of the upper or lower line on the most recent bar. So let's have a look at the program, and probably a good idea to go back to the original program and to understand the calculations there, because I'm not going to go into it in quite as much detail. But we calculate the value of the centered moving average, and then we just push it back so many bars. In this case, half the average length minus 1. So we've got a length of 20, half of that is 10, so we're pushing it back 9 bars. The historic, as I mentioned, is quite straightforward. So what we do, we calculate the average, we make an adjustment to get the upper line and the lower line. But what we say is if the high, and then we move the high, we take the high so many bars back, like in this case 9 bars back, and we say if that is greater than this, then we're going to plot the dot on the chart. But we're plotting that again, in this case 9 bars back, that's half average length minus 1, and we're also plotting the high, the value of the high 9 bars back. So that is how we get the historic, and once they've been plotted, they're not going to change, so we don't need to worry about that. But what will change is the estimated, or are the estimated values. Now we can see where we're plotting those, so that is the same as in the original program, plot 3 and 4. But what we need to do is to check whether we've breached that line. So we're doing that, we're using H, half average length minus 1 minus counter. Now we're going through a counter of 1 to half average length minus 1. So in this case, if length is 20, half length 10, so that would be 1 to 9. And because we're doing that essentially on every tick, we're going to keep this thing up to date. So if it does cross, we're going to plot the dots on the line here in this part of the program. Similar syntax to above, but we're just doing this in a loop that's repeating. We're also, if it is the last bar on the chart, we're doing an alert. Now that's all well and good, but what happens if the line moves and the line price which had crossed that line no longer is crossing that line? What we need to do is go back and no plot the value that we previously plotted. As you may know, you cannot no plot a number of bars ago. You can't have a statement like no plot square brackets 5 or 4 or whatever. So what we do instead is we do a plot of exactly the same as we did above, but we set the color to transparent, and that takes care of making those dots disappear when they're no longer relevant. So let's have a look at the chart. What I might do is edit this a little bit so you can see some of this happening, but at the moment the price is well below this line. In fact, let's just go into the program and just change the parameters so that we could perhaps get something happening a little more. So if we change that to 0.04 and leave everything else the same. So still we've got that already crossed the line there. But let's just watch it for a few minutes. So we saw another dot just appear there as the line moved. Another line with a green dot as the line moves again. And you can see the line on the left there lost its green dot. The line on the right, we gained a green dot. Anyway, hopefully that makes some sense, and we'll make this available at no cost to Gold Plus members. And thank you very much for your attention.